What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Off the Couch Boxing. I'm your host, Reckless Rex Ruger. That right there is my esteemed colleague, the Alexis Arguello Puppet.
And I'm your other host, Frank Benji's, back with another one.
And we got another good one, and a guy bailing us out in the 9th hour. Bailing us out in the 9th hour, Alex Vargas. You are the hero today, man. The hero.
Oh, hold on. All right, you got.
I know we were gonna have you on Wednesday night, man. But I mean, it's infuriating when you're in the podcasting business, man. When people do you like this at the last minute.
Yeah, I get it.
And of course, I won't mention any names. You know, I mean, this person may have a good, valid excuse or whatever, man. But it is what it is, man. But I'm so glad to have you on here. And first of all, man, before we get into the boxing stuff. I just got to say, man, that which is the more dangerous job, boxer or cop? Obviously, you've chosen two extremely dangerous professions.
I know. Yeah, my parents are stressed out every day because it's either boxing or I'm going into work. But I'm gonna say the law enforcement job is more dangerous.
No doubt.
It's just it's the unexpected of what could happen every night. Like last night. It was like 4 a.m. and then we're wrestling with some guy, and I didn't think it was going to be a problem. And then the guy just snapped and it turned into this whole problem. So you just never know.
Lots of guys out there snapping.
Yeah.
With Alex Vargas?
Huh? Yeah. Who the hell? Yeah. Obviously they must not know like what you do, man. Because who's going to snap with you,
I know some guys do, that are over there. And then, usually it's like if I'm around like these guys that are like 6'2" and 6'3" and I'm the smaller one, that's like, oh, I'm going after that guy. And it's pretty funny because the bigger guys are like, you're picking on the wrong one.
Yeah, but those 6'3" guys come in handy though, man, because you got to say, man, hey, I am you're a junior welterweight, right?
Yeah.
You gotta send those 6'3" guys to chase down the heavyweights.
I know. So it's good to have them, but they're I'm always the one that they're like trying to fight and stuff. I'm like,
now, so let me ask you, man, if the boxing thing were to take off, and it is going extremely well, you're 14-0 right now, man. Does that take precedent, man? Like, would you leave law enforcement if the big fights really start to come in?
I honestly don't think I'd leave. The job's really good where they'd work with me. Like now, once I get the next fight, they're like, we'll give you, the 8 weeks off to train, where I didn't have that. I was training and working full time. Now it's like they'll give me the time off where I could train. And even if the money came in for boxing, I think, I'd get off patrol as a police officer and just do something different, maybe go to the academy and help train people just to get off the road. But at the end of the day, like, it's still going to give me my pension, my benefits, which boxing doesn't do.
Yeah.
Even if I have a lot of money coming in, I still want to have that on the back end.
Yeah, that's you can't. Yeah. You really can't beat that. I'm not gonna lie.
No, you gotta have a solid gameplay. But and again, before we get into the boxing, and then now, like, we're in the upstate New York area. I don't know if this has made like national news yet, but we had a young man in the nearby city of Utica that was just like wrestled the other day with cops. He's running from the cops, and he had what appeared to be a gun, which eventually turned out to be a pellet gun. Yeah. Long story short, the police tackled him, and he did get fatally shot. Yeah. Is it tough when you're one of the good guys out there, but there are sometimes a lot of police officers? It's a tricky time to be a police officer nowadays.
Yeah, it's a tough time. On both ends. I mean, just as any job, there's always going to be like, the bad ones. Not everyone's going to be, good. So that makes it harder for us. But at the same time, in those situations, it's really hard. Like I read up on it and looked it up, and there were robberies going on with that gun, and it was those kids doing it to people. So it was a consistent thing. And then, even though it was fake, they were still robbing people. And then the situation, I mean, it's all in the moment. From the video, from what I saw, it looked like he turned around, pointed the gun, and then when he's on the ground, you really can't see what's going on. I mean, if he still had it in his hand and if he's turning it,
it's very
really
tough. It's very tough. There's a lot of stuff like seemingly starting to pop out now. I mean, like now that the body cam footage has been released. Yeah.
So
yeah.
it makes it hard on our end too, because instead of just kind of going with what you think, now it's in the back of your mind, like the body cams, national news, depending on what you do. So sometimes you won't pull the weapon out, and then that's when you get shot, and then now you're dead. So it's a hard time. You got to be really smart, kind of try and slow things down. I honestly think boxing has helped me with the job, because I feel like the job's just like boxing. Like you've got to be able to adapt really quick.
Well, now every day, it seems like everyone's flaunting the authority too. Like now, when you pull somebody over at a traffic stop, everybody wants to film you and debate you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they're all filming, and I'm like, we have the cameras rolling right here. Like, it's on. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, Long Island, fortunately, it's not as bad as a lot of other places. Like they do respect us for the most part out here, and I think there's a lot of good cops out here that are doing the right thing. So the reputation's been good out here. But if something like this happens and then starts turning everything, all around again. So
you probably saw it, but there was they were rioting at the police station.
Crazy.
Yeah. And then your face is on the news, and it's tough, and I'm sure that guy didn't want to shoot a 13-year-old kid.
Sure. Yeah.
Now he has to live with that for the rest of his life. And it's
so to turn to a different thing, man, what age were you when you got into boxing, and how did you get into boxing? What propelled you into the sport?
I mean, I was like 6 years old. So my dad never competed, but he was always in the gym. He'd actually spar Buddy McGirt at his grandma's house in the basement when they were younger over in Brentwood. And then he'd always have Mike Tyson fights on when I was a kid down in the basement. So I would just sit there watching it with him. And then naturally from there, I was like, oh, I want to box. And we'd start sparring each other in the basement for fake titles, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Until I was 9, and I was allowed to go to the gym, and I went to the gym. And
unfortunately, some of us, that's all we have is fake titles, Alex. That's all I've got.
It's all good.
So you said you watched Mike Tyson fights growing up. Question we like to ask guys a lot. When you were a kid, did you have idols that you looked up to in the sport that was your go-to guys to watch?
Growing up, I mean, it was always Tyson. He was the one that got me interested in the sport. I think even to this day, I still watch him. I think there will never be another Mike Tyson. He was so unique. He had his own style, his own personality. And
we as New Yorkers get to claim him too. He's ours.
Yeah, exactly. So
originally,
just his style. I've never seen anything like it. And still to this day, I mean, people try to mimic his style, but he's just one of a kind. And I just always watch him fight. But obviously, I watch a lot of other fighters, a lot of southpaws to see what they do, and I'm a fan of a lot of them. I mean, Lomachenko, Tank, all those guys.
Yeah.
So
are going to be absolutely crushed. Like our childhood, at least for me at 51 years old, my childhood is ruined, man, if Jake Paul actually beats him, man. And I know he's gotten up there in age, but I always have him as, he's that guy. This should end in a first-round murder. Anybody that gets in there with Mike Tyson, that has that type of experience level.
Yeah, I don't want to see. I mean, even when I watched his last pro fight, it was sad to see. And I didn't even grow up with, the Tyson era. I was just a big fan. And then now to fight Jake Paul, who was a YouTuber, and Mike Tyson's 58 years old. He doesn't have that killer in him anymore.
I know.
He's calm, and it's good for him. I would hope, if he did lose or it went wrong, he doesn't go back to, being crazy Mike, because he's been good. It looks like he's living a good life. So I'm not a fan of the fight at all. But boxing is just going that route with these crazy fights and YouTubers and things like that.
So to basically continue on that point, so another question we like to ask all the guys now with the YouTube fights and all this other stuff is what's your assessment of all that?
I mean, personally, I don't like it. As fighters, you put in the work to get to where you are. You go from the first fight on the card to then being the main event and slowly moving up, getting TV time. And you put in that work from the beginning, from not making money to now, getting to that point. And then these guys, just because they made prank videos when they were 16, throwing water on people, have a big name, and then jump into boxing, and I get it. They bring in money, but it's not boxing. It's not, the big fights that everyone wants to see. It's just, I think it's a joke. I'm not a fan. I don't watch them. It's just.
It's a shame what your social media profile can get you. You know what I mean? And it does kind of seem like they're thumbing the nose at the sport. I guess people are starting to realize Jake Paul is kind of taking the training kind of serious, but it still feels like he leapfrogs and kind of jumps over a lot of guys, you know what I mean, who would love to get those kind of paydays that have been, guys like you who've been grueling and grinding since they were kids.
Yeah, and I would love to get a payday against, a non-boxer, fighting a basketball player or somgoing like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take that any day. But,
you'll take 10 million to beat up Nate Robinson.
Yeah. But, we're going to be taking less money to fight another guy that's in the top 15 and freaking fight, but not someone that just learned it and it's just an athlete. So.
Yeah, actually Nico Alshaw said after his fight the other night that he turned down the Jake Paul payday because he doesn't want to be part of the circus act.
Yeah, and I respect that on his end, but also I'm, like I said, I do hate it, that the whole YouTuber thing. But if that's gonna set your family up and yourself up and with a lot of money, I wouldn't turn it down,
right?
Especially against someone that's not a boxer. I get you're gonna lose some respect, but at the end of the day, you got to make that money and do what's best for yourself.
And it is good for him too, because he wants to I imagine he probably wants to keep some credibility with the Ali name, though. I mean, Grandpa would be rolling over in his grave if he saw him.
I think that's probably the biggest thing. That I can't have the Ali name.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure
all time, and then I'm going to go fight a YouTuber. I think that played a big role. I think if he wasn't an Ali, he'd be like, yeah, I'm going to take that payday. Because he wouldn't. But I mean, I respect him for doing that.
So when you look around at your peers, obviously you're in a sport where anybody can potentially be, your competition or a potential opponent. But, when you're looking at the landscape of all the talent out there now, when you step back and look at it from a fan standpoint, who do you enjoy watching now?
Right now,
I know you mentioned Tank and Lomachenko a little earlier.
Yeah, I enjoy watching them.
Who, by the way, do look like they're going to fight later this year, those two names.
It does look that should be a good fight. I wish Loma, Loma's still a beast, but I wish it was years ago.
Me too.
Fought. I mean,
you're among many, I think. Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago, it would have been a real sizzling fight.
Yeah, he's just got. So many amateur fights and stuff. It wears on you.
Yeah,
he's slowing down. He's still a beast, but I just think he's past that to be fighting Tank, and he's smaller. But I watch them. It's just when guys are in my weight class, I'm not too much of a fan, I'd say. I watch to see what they do because they are good. But as far as who I seeing right now, I mean, mine are different from most people. I think I'm a big fan of David Morrell.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Big fan of David Morrell.
Yeah.
And, Bam, who just fought.
He looked great.
I love his footwork, his angles.
I literally didn't see that coming, man. I thought that he would win, but I didn't think he'd be crumpling Estrada with a body shot.
Yeah. I've always been a big fan of just the way he fights, just the angles he could do. It's just beautiful boxing.
Yeah. And so the 140-pound division that you fight in is really, really popping right now. So what's the plan for you? How active, how active would you like to be the rest of 2024? Do you have your next opponent already laid out? Do you got your eyes on somebody?
I'm hoping to get a fight date soon. It's kind of been going back and forth with the negotiations. Now once I think I was number 14 in the world by the WBA.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to get decent fight, a decent opponent, and we're going back and forth with my promoter. With what we can do. As long as I have the right amount of time, I don't want to take something last second. They offered me Michel Rivera.
Yeah.
To fight him, but in 3 weeks. And
yeah.
I'd be just losing the weight because I'm a big 40-pounder when it comes to rehydrating.
Yeah.
So working on things like that, but it's tough, the negotiations at this point. Just from once I got ranked number 14, I saw how it goes. Did they throw me certain guys and then they turn it down, or
right, where leftovers? Yeah.
Or we're not going to go there to to fight with, you know, whatever the weight is, if it's not at 140 kind of thing. So there's so much going on right now.
Now, do you typically walk around pretty close to your fighting weight? I mean, because you said you're a pretty big 140 pounder.
Yeah, no, I walk around pretty big. I mean, I usually at least 170.
Whoa. Okay, so like you cut a lot of weight then.
I do. It's my body. Like I put on a lot. I mean, I stay running and stuff, and I could go much higher than 170.
Okay.
It's just but I stay running, and as long as I keep it around 170, and then once I get a fight date, I'll just start chopping it down a little bit.
So do you feel like you'll eventually outgrow that weight class and you will explore other weight divisions?
Yeah, definitely. That's why I want to get these fights in now, because I could only hold 140 for so long, and I'm still making it. But obviously, you know, it gets harder as time goes on.
Yeah.
So, and I feel good at 40. Like I rehydrate a good amount of weight, but I don't feel sluggish. I don't feel too drained.
I got to get the secret, man. I could knock off about 30 pounds too. I'm going to come down to Long Island and crash with you for a couple months, and you get me down to where I need to.
Yeah.
Your plan.
It's definitely not fun, but it's you know, if I can do it and I'm not
sure,
you know, just killing my performance, then I'm going to keep doing it. And a lot of these fighters can do it. A lot of them are rehydrating a lot. I mean, Ryan Garcia rehydrates a good amount, but I want to stay at 40 as long as I can, because, you know, 47 is a big jump. That's a 7-pound jump.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's the heaviest weight class with the 8-ounce glove still before it goes to 10. So,
right.
I you know, I have my ranking at 140. I don't want to leave and just now lose the ranking to go right to 47, unless it's a good payday or something like that. Then why not? But no, 140 right now, definitely.
So if Alex Vargas has got to put in the best 3-minute round of his life right now, what's his go-to song here, bud?
Go-to song. If it was the biggest round of,
we're trying to pump you up here. Yeah.
It's I said this when I was a little kid. Who'd I see walk out to it? Oh, Jermaine Taylor when he fought Hopkins. It was it's the Phil Collins song. It's like I've been waiting for this moment, like all my life, something like that.
Oh, In the Air Tonight.
In the Air Tonight, yeah.
Yeah.
That one. I remember seeing him walk out to it when he fought Hopkins, and I was like, if I get that one fight, that one opportunity, like that's what I'm coming out to.
Jermaine Taylor came out to that, huh? He did, huh?
Yeah, against Hopkins up for the first fight, I remember, and I was like, I told myself, I get that shot, like I'm coming out to, because I always come out to like Spanish music.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so I'd probably come out to that and like mix it into like Spanish music, but definitely have that going first or something like that.
Okay, so after you've cut the weight, man, like what's usually like, you know, you've cut the weight, you've got done with the fight or whatever. Immediately afterwards, what's the post-fight meal, man? Like, what have you missed and longed for?
Oh, it's always pizza. I love
always pizza. Yeah, I know, and you're right in the hub of where you can get real legit pizza too.
Yeah, legitimate pizza, the best pizza, and that's always what I crave. It's like I don't know, it's just what I crave.
Now, you're a New York guy, man, so you must have your own spot. Like, shout out your spot. What's your spot that you go to?
For pizza?
Yeah.
It's a tough one. There's a lot of good spots. I'm going to say Rose's in Huntington.
Okay.
That's actually where I work. It's
shout out to Rose. Yeah, she's making the pies that keep Alex coming back.
Yeah, they make the good pizza. And I work there too, so we're always hanging out in that spot too. So it's pretty cool that, you know, we hang out in there, and then, you know, I'm eating their pizza after the fight and stuff like that.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, is it the classic New York thin crispy slice?
Yeah, for the most part, I'll just go with the classic slice and just eat probably like a whole pie.
Yeah,
I've gone other routes where I put on like stuff on the pizza, but after cutting weight for so long and dieting, that I get full after one slice.
It all goes out the window. Fuck that. You're down in the whole thing. Yeah. And now, do you like these rehydration clause as a guy that gets bigger, man? Like, do you like when someone puts like a weight limit on you? Like, okay, you can only get like such and such, gain such and such amount of weight. Do you like when with boxers? Obviously, we see Tank implement this a lot with his opponents.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I think if you can do it, if you can get that weight down and you can come into the fight and you rehydrate, and you're one of those that puts on a lot of weight, I think if you could do it, I think let it rock. I mean, obviously, if I'm fighting someone and I know they rehydrate a lot, and be like, you know, well, it's gonna suck, you know, over time, and you're gonna feel that weight on the person. But if you can do it, why not? Because then I can't imagine just having to weigh in within 10 pounds the next morning.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine that. Now you get the weighing done, and then you're still stressing because now you have to watch and make sure you get go over that limit.
You still got to go back to your hotel room and eat like a bird.
Yeah. So, and after I weigh in is when everything's like usually chill, and I'm like, all right, well, everything's done, and I kind of enjoy time with all my friends. We go out to dinner, and just enjoy taking the moment. And then if you have that, it's like now you're sitting at dinner like, oh shoot, I could only eat half of this pasta.
Bring me a head of lettuce, waiter.
yeah. That sucks. So I'm not a fan of it. I wouldn't want to do it, but I mean, these big names in the sport, those are the things you can
leverage.
Do. Yeah, that's what you can do.
And so 14-0, 5 knockouts. So obviously with that type of knockout rate, you fancy yourself more of a tactical boxer.
Yeah, I think now where I'm at in my career, like when I was fighting those, previous 14 fights, I was more cautious. Like there were a lot of fights where I could have stepped on the gas, and my trainers would be like, step on the gas and get the guy out of there. But I would just play it safe. I was like, I know I'm up every round, and when you're coming up, you don't want to take that loss, especially by getting clipped by a shot. Now where I'm at, now it's time where you want to, make like a highlight reel performance, and now where I'm at is where you have to make a name, like 14 in the world. What you do after that is how high you're going to jump up and the names you're going to get. So I definitely start sitting on my shots now, pressing action more now that I'm where I wanted to be. And it's kind of good though, because guys think I don't have power, and then I'm sparring with all of these guys, and first time I spar them, they're thinking I can't punch, and then they always tell me after sparring, they're like you could crack. They're like, we didn't expect that with the knockout ratio. They're like, you got to sit on your shots. I'm like, yeah, I know. I just now in my career, I'm definitely gonna start sitting on them.
Yeah, I feel like that's a perfect. The way you attack that is so perfect. Like you build the credibility to get yourself to 14, and then you start making yourself fan friendly. You know what I mean?
I didn't want to risk it too early, like because that's when you're building a name, and I've grown a pretty good name now. So now it's more where I could enjoy it and have fun and really fight like I know I can.
And that's what I always find so amazing, man. Because a guy like Lomachenko, we've talked about him earlier, he stayed so long at the amateurs, but to be at 20 fights and have 3 losses almost seems catastrophic. Yet they always talk about a future Hall of Famer. Yeah. And I get he made so many guys in a row quit, and he's got such a spectacular skill set. But the bottom line is he's still got a 18-3 record though, which normally you would look at with any other guy and think, that's kind of middle of the road kind of guy,
Yeah, it's just. It was the whole Lomachenko thing, the Olympics, all of those amateur fights, and he jumped right into the fire. He went right to bigger names and tough fights, which you got to respect because that's tough. I mean, you see Robesi Ramirez when he went pro, it's a whole different ball game, and he lost his pro fight. I remember when I went pro, I'm like, I got hit with the first shot with 8-ounce gloves. I'm like, wow, this is completely different. I mean, just the headbutts, you feel everything, you feel it more without the headgear and the small gloves. So. He for him to just jump into it like that is impressive. But yeah, you usually after he losses, you're screwed.
I'm trying to think of who else would be like another New York guy down there. I'm trying to think of like Paulie Malignaggi was another guy very similar to that. Didn't knock out a lot of guys early in his career a little bit, but then he had a lot of hand problems.
Yeah, his hands were always jacked up. But yeah, Paulie, he had very, very few knockouts, but he was just such a showman.
Yeah,
he still brought in a lot. And then you have Chris Algieri the same way. He didn't have a lot of knockouts, and I sparred him a lot. Like he can punch. Not that he's going to put you out cold, but from what his record shows, and then you spar him, you're like, oh, he's got some pop.
Now, do you feel that pressure, man? Because, and of course, we've been very critical about this on our show numerous times, and talked about it ad nauseum even at times. But like we do see still in the sport, and it is a black eye in the sport, we do see some very questionable, even downright deplorable judges' scorecards. Do you feel that pressure? Do you, is there a pressure? I know you want to put on the highlight reel performance, but is there a worry when a fight goes to the cards?
Yeah, there always is. You don't know what they're looking at. and you, like you said, you've seen some crazy cards. I mean, I remember I went to Florida on a Telemundo card, and I had to fight this undefeated kid from there, and I was skeptical because just from the jump there was like all of these games going on, and I mean they got me to the venue an hour after I was supposed to be there, and my opponent was warming up the whole time, and they told me you have 5 minutes to get ready and get in the ring, or we're calling the fight. So I had to wrap up and just jump in the ring against this kid. And then I remember I lost the first round. I wasn't warm. And then it went to the cards. I'm like, I'm going to lose. I'm in his hometown. And I ended up getting a majority decision win. But I mean, I was really nervous in that. I can imagine. I wanted to get him out of there. But I was close to it. And that fight, I was pushing to get him out of there.
Yeah.
But he didn't go. He was a tough guy. And then fortunately, I got the decision. I knew I won the fight, but I just didn't know how it was going to go.
Stepping in the ring with no lather on is crazy.
I know.
I don't remember like the first 3 rounds. I just remember getting there and I was like, all right, I'm gonna settle in. And then that was like my first like national TV fight. Like I saw the cameras flying around, and then I don't remember the first 3 rounds. Like I said, I just put on the gloves, walked in. I was like, what the heck is going on? Like no warm up, nothing. It's crazy.
So when you're ranked number 14 by the WBA, what's the timeline? How many fights away do you feel that you are for being on the world title stage? Do you feel it'll happen sometime in 2025 or beyond that? I mean, obviously you probably feel yourself right now that you're pretty close, if not right there.
Yeah, I'm really close. I would say like 2 fights. I would say 2025. It all depends. Who
the hell's got that WBA 140 belt?
Now it just went to Pitbull Cruz after he
that's right. Yeah.
So he has the belt now, but it all depends to who I fight. I would have been higher than 14 because my original opponent was 22-3, and it was a 10-round fight, and then he pulled out like 3 weeks before the fight. So then we had to get a replacement, and they were like, all right, it's going to be 8 rounds now, and he obviously didn't have a 22-3 record, so my ranking didn't jump up like it was supposed to. I would probably be 10. So situations like that happens. But if I could get some solid fights, if I could get, a fight like that on an ESPN undercard at MSG would be perfect. I think I would sell a lot from NYPD to all of Long Island Police going out there. So
yeah, that's a fully split up division, isn't it? Wasn't Tank got one, Loma's got one, that Pollo guy just took one, right?
No, he's at 140.
Who's that?
That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah. Who's the last guy?
Liam Paro. Didn't Liam Paro just take one off?
Matias. Yeah.
Yeah, he just beat Subriel Matias. Yeah, which I didn't see that coming, but I was glad for him though.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming either. But he fought a good fight. But yeah, I mean the division's stacked with all these guys, and there are
a lot of great fights there. Yeah, 135 and 135 and 140 are exciting.
Yeah, so
it's really 2 popping divisions right now, man. Very exciting.
Yeah, it's the tougher divisions, but it's where the money is too. It's where the weight classes everyone's watching. So
got to be a lot of pressure though, man, when all the cops, all the boys in blue turn out, man, because I mean, obviously it's kind of like a big giant fraternity when you're a police officer, man. You're going to get a lot of razzing.
Yeah, that's really stressful. Like once I got on the job, I remember like it was all on the paper and they put on like Newsday, and I'm like, all right, and then the fight came around and I'm just seeing everybody take off. Like everyone's just taking off for the fight, and the whole precinct went, and then other precincts went. I was like, I can't freaking lose, especially my first one on the job. I was like, it was this big thing. So yeah, a ton of people came from the job.
The good news is if you get a bad judge's decision, man, is there any way you can go over and cuff some of these guys and haul them right out of there, man? Some of them should just, these decisions have been downright criminal.
I know. I'm sure they would. I'm sure they definitely would if that did happen.
Yeah.
But, it's a lot of stress and pressure having that and representing the department and wearing the patch on my my trunks and stuff like that. But it's a good feeling because it's something different. I think I'm the first one for that ever for the department that's like a pro athlete.
And by the way, kudos on the nickname, man. We're big nickname guys, man. El Toro is nice. I like that, man. I was a little rusty on my Espanol, so I had to look it up. I did think that it meant bull, so at least I was right. I mean, I took 2 years of Spanish, but a million years ago in high school, and I just barely squeaked by. So I'm not that well versed in it, man. But we're always talking to guys about their nicknames and the origins of their nicknames. So, is there a specific meaning behind like why that particular one, or is it just you're going through nicknames and you just think that one sounds badass?
It was just I wasn't really thinking of nicknames, and then my dad was just like, "Oh, I think that this fits you," and I was like, "All right." Like I wasn't a fan of it at first. I'm like, whatever, and then it kind of took off because now we do the T-shirts for every fight, different colors that match my trunks, and it has El Toro on it with a picture of the bull, and everyone loves the shirt. So now it's like a known thing. Like, oh, what the shirt's gonna be this time, and it has the bull on it. So it worked out. He came up with it. It's funny though because I'll go sparring and the coach is like, "You should have been like the Matador instead of the bull." They're like, "Just boxing around right now." And then sometimes I'll come forward a lot, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, name fits you." So it's funny.
Well, once you start sitting down on those punches and getting those KOs, I mean, then it fits. Then it really fits.
Then it really fits, and I'm hoping to do that soon.
Well, Benji's, maybe you should. Benji's likes to design logos. Benji's, make him up an El Toro design. Come on.
That'd be sick. That'd be sick.
My skills are a little bit rusty, but they could use some sharpening.
Yeah. Send them something, man. Wouldn't that be a huge honor, man? I mean, come on, man. Get your artwork on one of his shirts. I mean, hey, no time like the present, right? I mean,
yeah. I think we only did it with 2 shirts. I think one was designed and it looked good, and then Andre Rozier, obviously with Havoc, he's one of my trainers.
Yeah,
he does those designs, and he did a nice bull design one time. But other than that, like it's usually my dad just going online getting bull pictures. Besides those 2 shirts, so it'd be nice to have something custom.
Going on there grabbing some bull clip art.
yeah, he's just grabbing. He's like, this one looks good. I'm like, yeah, I like it. But then it was cool when they did those 2 like custom logo bull designs to go on the shirts and stuff.
Yeah, well, it just so happens that I have some Latino boxing royalty here. As you can see, I've got the Alexis Arguello puppet back there.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that.
He's very well dressed too. He's very happy that you're on here.
Yeah, I'm happy he's standing there.
I'm glad somebody is, man, because we don't shout him out nearly enough. You
got to shout him out.
A legend. A boxing legend.
That guy was amazing.
Amazing, yeah. And listen, man, you're amazing, man. And you're amazing because you bailed us out, man. We had a late cancellation. We were supposed to have you on Wednesday, dude. So you are the hero in more ways than one.
Thank you.
Yeah. Out there protecting and serving our ass so we could get some content tonight. So
yeah, it worked out. I just came back from like a run. I was like, all right, I'll jump on.
I appreciate it, man. And listen, man, it's been really fun interviewing you. Please stay in touch. We'd love to have you back on again whenever you got a fight or something that's popping to promote. Come back on with us.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you guys having me, and something comes up, I'll let you guys know, and do it again.
Our pleasure. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Good talking to you, man.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Best of luck going forward. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Later. That guy did us a solid. And now I got the other guy hitting me up saying, hey, let's do our episode. I thought it was 7:30, he said. No, it was not. Wrong. I don't know like what I'll do, but I will have to end fucking this one right here, man. But love that guy, man. Alex El Toro Vegas, not only stepping in the ring and putting his life on the line, but down there protecting and serving in the Long Island area, man. See, folks, not all the cops are out there doing rotten stuff, man. Let's not judge them all so harshly, man, because there are a lot of damn good ones out there. I happen to come from, my mother's side of the family, very entrenched in law enforcement, man. My grandfather, his father, his father's brother, so there was a lot of I have a cousin that was a police officer.
In a way, it's like he said, it's sad that the kid got killed. And it's unfortunate that those guys had to do that. But like, I agree with his assessment in a way, though. Like when you're running, if you're running and somebody turns and brandishes something that looks like a gun at you in the dark, you know what I mean? Like that kind of like opens the door, because now it's like, well, he did aim a gun at me. I couldn't tell it was a pellet gun until I got it.
Right. Yeah,
just
I know.
Oh.
Yeah. And the body cam footage now is kind of popping out and kind of changes, I think, the way people are going to see stuff now, too. You know what I mean? So, I mean, like, that's why everybody's recording nowadays, man. So everybody can, cover their own ass. And, I think that's been one of the benefits of technology, man. So we don't just got to sit around and scratch our head and just say, he did this, he did that, but we don't know. You know what I mean? Like, like now it's all out there, man. It's all out there, man. But putting that aside, man, amazing fighter, man. 14-0. WBA's got him ranked up in that prestigious. He's broken into that prestigious top 15, man. That's where you want to be, man. Upward and onward for him, dude, man. Another guy that sounds like he's a couple fights away. So another guy going to be knocking at the door of some world title shots in 2025, man. And well-deserved, man. And a fun guest, man. Rolled with the punches, man.
Hey, man, we're on a roll with potential champions here. Yeah,
we sure are, man. Yeah. We're putting a lot of them in our coffers, man, for on down the road, man, when they're the next crop of legends. You know what I mean? We're laying the groundwork, man, for a lot of return guests that are going to be coming back on here year after year after year with greater records and more accolades and more accomplishments.
Right. So don't be looking stupid when Alex Vargas is the next Floyd Mayweather and he's coming on here to chop it up with us.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, you shouldn't be feeling stupid because you should already be tapped in. If you haven't done that, that's what's making you stupid.
Right.
The fact that you're not liking and following us on Facebook, and the fact that you're not liking, subscribing, and hitting the notification bell to stay tapped into the greatest boxing conversations, man. As I always say, this is where your favorite fighters and people in the fight game are coming to chop it up. Right here.
Yep.
On Off the Couch Boxing, man. Right here. And he was happy as hell that the Alexis Arguello puppet was standing there.
You are.
Although he is sitting, but I mean,
He's there.
He's there. He's a presence. He's a force in the room. I can always feel him and sense that he's behind me watching my back. So, I mean, that's all that really matters, man. But big thank you to El Toro, which means the bull, by the way, for our people out there that aren't so hot on their Espanol. I had to look it up myself, man. But, hey.
I didn't. I took French, so I wouldn't have known anyway.
Alex Vargas is down there in Long Island doing his thing, man, protecting and serving, and then he just happens to, get off of work and step through the ropes and kick some ass.
Right. And what New York guy doesn't like a pie?
Yeah, what New York guy doesn't like a pie? And guess what, man? The guy even said, hey, I walk around thinking 25, 30 pounds heavier than I fight at. I like to eat, and then I like to cut the weight.
Yeah, that surprised me.
Ain't nothing but a thing, man. Yeah, apparently, man. That's how New Yorkers do it, though, man. We know, man. We get it done. We shouted out Mike Tyson on there, the baddest New Yorker of all time, man. So, I mean, New York is always on point. Always.
New York, and better yet, Long Island, stand up.
Yeah, or as they would say, Long Island, stand up, have a nice cup of coffee tomorrow morning, and watch this episode.
Yep. And with that being said, shout out Gary Busey, because I can go 15 seconds with anything.
And thank you to Alex El Toro Vargas. Keep your eye on that young man doing great things, man. And remember, kids, if you want to be a champion, you got to roll with the champs.